My name is Sarah, and I am 32 years old. I never thought my birthday party would end with my husband slapping me in front of our friends. But what happened next changed everything. The sound of that slap still echoes in my memory, not because it hurt my face, but because it finally woke me up. That moment, standing in my own kitchen with my cheek burning, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the best thing that ever could. Before I tell you what I did next, let me know where you are watching from. Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe, because you will want to stick around. What happened next changed everything about my marriage and about me. I met Marcus when I was 25 years old. He was 28 back then, confident and charming in ways that made my heart race every time he walked into a room. We met at an art gallery opening in downtown Chicago on a rainy October evening. I was there with a friend from college, pretending to understand abstract paintings while sipping cheap wine from plastic cups. Marcus walked up to me and said something I will never forget. He looked at the painting I was staring at and said, "Actually, I think you are more interesting than anything on these walls." It was cheesy, sure, but the way he smiled made me believe he meant it. We started dating 2 weeks later. He was an architect working for a mid-sized firm that designed commercial buildings. I was teaching 3rd grade at Lincoln Elementary School on the North Side. Our lives were different, but somehow fit together perfectly. He would pick me up after work sometimes, bringing coffee and asking about my day. He remembered the names of my students. He laughed at my stories about 8-year-olds and their wild imaginations. He made me feel seen in a way I had never experienced before. We got married after dating for 2 years. The wedding was small, just close family and friends held in a botanical garden during autumn when the leaves were burning red and gold. Marcus wrote his own vows. He promised to build a life with me, to create a home filled with laughter and love. I believed every word. Looking back now, I wonder if he believed them too, or if even then some part of him knew he could not keep those promises. For the first few years, marriage was everything I hoped it would be. We bought a small house in a quiet neighborhood with a backyard big enough for a garden. I planted tomatoes and herbs. Marcus built a deck where we would sit on summer evenings drinking beer and talking about our dreams. We talked about having children someday, maybe 2 or 3. We talked about traveling to Italy and Greece. We talked about growing old together. But then things started to shift. It was subtle at first, so subtle I told myself I was imagining it. About 2 years before my 32nd birthday, Marcus got promoted to senior architect at his firm. It was a big deal. More money, more responsibility, more prestige. I was proud of him. I threw a small celebration dinner for him, invited his parents and mine. He gave a speech about how this was just the beginning, how he was going to make us proud. I squeezed his hand under the table and smiled. The promotion changed him, though. He started working longer hours, coming home at 8 or 9 at night instead of 6. He was tired all the time. When I would ask about his day, he would give me one-word answers. Fine, busy, exhausting. I tried to be understanding. I knew his job was demanding. I knew he was under pressure. But slowly I started to feel like I was living with a stranger. Then the comments started. Little things at first. He would look at what I was wearing and say, "You are wearing that." Or he would watch me eat dinner and mention that maybe I should go to the gym more often. "You have been looking a little tired lately, Sarah," he would say. "Maybe you should take better care of yourself." Each comment felt like a tiny cut, small enough to ignore individually, but together they added up to something that bled. I started second-guessing everything. I bought new clothes, things I thought he would like. I joined a gym even though I hated working out. I started wearing makeup every day, even on weekends when we were just staying home. I tried so hard to be the woman he seemed to want me to be, but nothing I did was ever quite enough. He would notice what I did wrong, but never what I did right. If I cooked his favorite meal, he would mention that I had overcooked the chicken. If I cleaned the house, he would point out the one corner I missed. The worst part was not the criticism itself. The worst part was that I started to believe him. I started to think maybe I was not trying hard enough. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe I needed to be better, prettier, quieter, more agreeable. I stopped sharing my bad days with him because he would sigh like I was burdening him. I stopped asking him to help with household chores because he would do them badly on purpose, forcing me to redo everything anyway. I made myself smaller and smaller, hoping that if I just took up less space, he would love me again the way he used to. And then Diane appeared. Marcus mentioned her casually one night over dinner. There is this new architect at work, Diane, really talented, sharp. She worked in New York before moving here. He said it like it was nothing, just workplace small talk. But over the next few weeks, Diane's name came up more and more. Diane had this great idea for the new project. Diane went to Yale. Diane ran marathons. Diane. I tried not to be jealous. I told myself I was being paranoid. Marcus was allowed to have female colleagues. I was being one of those wives, the insecure kind, who could not handle their husband having female friends. But then Diane started calling him at night. His phone would buzz during dinner, and he would glance at it and say, "Sorry, work emergency," and disappear into his office for an hour. When I would ask what the emergency was, he would wave me off. "You would not understand. It is technical stuff." One afternoon, I decided to surprise Marcus at his office. I baked cookies, his favorite chocolate chip kind, and drove downtown during my lunch break. I wanted to do something nice to remind him that I was thinking about him. When I walked into his office, he was leaning over a desk with another woman, both of them examining blueprints spread out in front of them. They were laughing about something. The woman looked up when I walked in. She had short, dark hair and was wearing a perfectly tailored suit. She looked at me like I was an interruption. Marcus turned around, and for a second I saw something flash across his face. Annoyance, maybe, or guilt. But it was gone, quickly replaced by a smile that did not quite reach his eyes. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" I held up the container of cookies. "I wanted to surprise you." The woman, Diane, I assumed, smiled tightly. "How sweet. I am Diane. You must be Sarah." The way she said my name made me feel small, like I was a child bringing cookies to her father at work. I left quickly after that, mumbling something about needing to get back to school. On the drive home, I cried. I could not even explain why. Nothing had happened. It was just a woman at his office. They were working. But something about the way they stood so close together, the way they had been laughing, the way Diane had looked at me like I was intruding, it all felt wrong. When I brought it up to Marcus that night, he got defensive. "What exactly are you accusing me of, Sarah? I am not accusing you of anything. I just felt uncomfortable." "Uncomfortable about what?" "About me working. About me having a female colleague. You are being ridiculous." And just like that, I was the problem again. Not him, not the situation. Me and my feelings, me and my insecurity, me and my ridiculous jealousy. So I stopped bringing it up. I swallowed my concerns and tried to focus on other things. My students, my garden, my sister Amanda, who lived across town, my best friend Jessica, who would come over for wine and reality TV marathons. I built a life around Marcus, rather than with him filling the gaps he left with other people and other things. I told myself this was just a rough patch. All marriages went through them. We would be okay. But deep down, I knew we were not okay. Deep down, I knew something was dying, and I was too scared to admit it. I decided to throw myself a birthday party. It sounds silly now, planning your own birthday party when you are 32 years old. But I wanted something to look forward to. I wanted one day where I could feel celebrated and loved. I wanted to gather the people who mattered to me and forget just for a few hours about the slow unraveling of my marriage. I started planning 2 weeks in advance. I made lists, guest list, menu, decorations, music playlist. I wanted everything to be perfect. I invited Jessica, Amanda, a few colleagues from school, and some neighbors we were friendly with. I told Marcus about it, expecting him to be involved to help to care. "You are throwing yourself a birthday party?" he asked, barely looking up from his laptop. "Yes," I said. "I thought it would be nice to have people over." He shrugged. "Okay, do whatever you want." "Do you want to help me plan it?" I asked. "Sarah, I am really busy with this project. Just let me know what you need me to do and I will do it." But the way he said it made it clear he had no intention of helping. So I planned it myself. I went to the store and bought decorations. Balloons in shades of blue and gold, string lights to hang in the backyard, paper lanterns. I planned a menu that was ambitious, maybe too ambitious. Appetizers, a main course, a homemade cake. I spent hours looking up recipes online, watching YouTube videos on how to make everything look professional. Jessica came over one afternoon to help me prep. She stood in my kitchen chopping vegetables while I marinated chicken. "Where is Marcus?" she asked. Working, I said. Always working these days. She gave me a look, that look friends give you when they are worried, but do not want to say too much. Are you two okay? She asked carefully. I forced a smile. We are fine, just busy. She did not look convinced, but she dropped it. The week before the party, Marcus became even more distant. He was on his phone constantly. I would walk into a room, and he would quickly switch apps like he was hiding something. One night, I woke up at 2 in the morning and realized he was not in bed. I found him in the bathroom sitting on the edge of the tub with his phone typing something. When I asked what he was doing, he jumped like I had caught him doing something wrong. Just a work thing, he said. An emergency email. At 2 in the morning, I asked. He got irritated. Yes, Sarah, at 2 in the morning. Some of us have demanding jobs. He pushed past me and went back to bed. I stood there in the bathroom staring at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes looked tired. My face looked older than 32. I barely recognized myself anymore. The day before the party, I went into overdrive. I cleaned the entire house top to bottom. I scrubbed floors and wiped down baseboards and organized closets that no one would even look into. I went to 3 different grocery stores to find specific ingredients. I stayed up until midnight baking the cake, a 3-layer chocolate cake with buttercream frosting. By the time I went to bed, my feet ached and my back hurt, but the house looked beautiful. Marcus came home late that night. I was putting the finishing touches on the cake when he walked in. Looks good, he said, barely glancing at it. Are you excited about tomorrow? I asked, trying to sound cheerful. Sure, he said. Then he went upstairs without another word. I stood in the kitchen alone looking at the cake I had spent hours making and felt a wave of sadness wash over me. This was supposed to be a happy occasion. This was supposed to be about celebration. But instead I felt lonely in my own home, unappreciated by my own husband. I told myself it would be better tomorrow. Once people arrived, once there was laughter and conversation, everything would feel different. I just had to get through tonight. That night I lay in bed next to Marcus. He was asleep or pretending to be facing away from me. I stared at the ceiling and thought about all the birthdays we had spent together. My 26th birthday, he had surprised me with a weekend trip to a bed and breakfast in Michigan. My 28th, he had organized a dinner with all my friends and given me a necklace with my birthstone. When had things changed? At what point had I become someone whose birthday he could not be bothered to care about? I thought about calling the whole thing off, just canceling the party, telling everyone I was sick. But I could not do that to Jessica and Amanda. They were excited for me. They had bought me gifts. They wanted to celebrate. So I decided I would put on a brave face. I would smile and laugh and pretend everything was fine. I was good at that by now. Pretending. The morning of my birthday, Marcus did not say anything special. No happy birthday with breakfast. No card on the nightstand. Nothing. He got up, showered, and said he had to go into the office for a few hours. On a Saturday, I asked. Just for a little bit, he said. I will be back before the party starts. And then he left. I spent the afternoon setting everything up alone. I hung the lights. I arranged the furniture to create more space. I set out plates and napkins and cups. I put out the appetizers I had made the night before. I changed into a dress I had bought specifically for this party, a soft lavender dress that made me feel pretty. I put on makeup and did my hair. I looked in the mirror and tried to convince myself I looked happy. By 5 o'clock, guests started arriving. Jessica was first bringing a bottle of wine and a hug that lasted a long time. You look beautiful, she said. Thank you for doing this, I said. Are you kidding? She said. You deserve this. Amanda came next with her husband and their 2 kids. The kids ran around the backyard while Amanda helped me in the kitchen. A few colleagues from school arrived, some neighbors. The house filled with voices and laughter, and for a moment I felt okay. But Marcus still was not home. It was 6 o'clock, then 6:30, then 7. People kept asking where he was. Oh, he will be here soon, I said. Work emergency. But inside I was furious and hurt and humiliated. At 7:15, the front door opened. I heard Marcus's voice in the hallway. Sorry we are late, he said. We. My stomach dropped. I walked toward the front door and saw Marcus standing there with Diane beside him. She was dressed impeccably, wearing a sleek black dress and heels that made her taller than me. Her hair was styled perfectly. She was holding a wrapped gift, something in expensive-looking paper. "I hope you do not mind," Sarah Marcus said casually. "Diane was at the office and I thought it would be rude not to invite her along." I stood there frozen. Every part of me wanted to scream. This was my birthday party. My party. And he had brought her. But I could not make a scene. Not with everyone watching. Not with neighbors and colleagues and friends all standing around my living room. So I forced a smile. "Of course not," I said. "The more the merrier." The words tasted like poison in my mouth. Diane stepped forward and handed me the gift. "Happy birthday, Sarah. I hope 32 treats you well." There was something in her voice, something I could not quite place. Condescension, maybe. Or pity. I thanked her and set the gift on the table with the others. Jessica appeared at my elbow. "Are you okay?" she whispered. I nodded, but I could feel tears threatening to spill over. I excused myself to the kitchen, pretending I needed to check on the food. Jessica followed me. "What the hell is he thinking?" she hissed. "I do not know," I said. "I do not know anymore." I took a few deep breaths and went back out to the party. But everything felt wrong now. I watched Marcus and Diane standing together by the fireplace, talking and laughing. He was animated in a way I had not seen him in months. He touched her arm when he laughed. She leaned in close when she talked to him. They looked like a couple, and I looked like the third wheel at my own birthday party. Dinner was awkward. We all sat around the dining table I had spent hours decorating, and I tried to keep conversation going. But my eyes kept drifting to Marcus and Diane. They sat next to each other. They shared inside jokes I did not understand. When Diane mentioned a project at work, Marcus jumped in with details and enthusiasm. When I tried to contribute to the conversation, Marcus barely acknowledged me. Amanda caught my eye from across the table. She looked angry. I could tell she wanted to say something, but she held back for my sake. I appreciated that. The last thing I needed was family drama on top of everything else. After dinner, I brought out the cake. Everyone gathered around the dining table and sang happy birthday. I stood there with the candles flickering in front of me, and I tried to smile. But inside, I felt like I was breaking. Marcus stood on the opposite side of the table next to Diane, not even close to me. When it came time to make a wish, I closed my eyes. I wish things could go back to the way they were. I wish I could feel loved again. I blew out the candles and everyone clapped. Then came the gifts. Jessica gave me a beautiful scarf she had picked out from a boutique downtown. Amanda gave me a collection of books I had been wanting and a set of scented candles. My colleagues gave me a gift card to a spa. And then Marcus handed me a small box. I opened it. Inside was a simple silver bracelet. No inscription. No card. It looked like something he had grabbed at the last minute from a department store. It was not thoughtful. It was not personal. It was just a thing. Diane leaned over and looked at it. "Oh, that is nice. Simple." The way she said simple made it clear she thought it was cheap. Marcus said nothing. He did not explain the gift. He did not say happy birthday. He just stood there looking uncomfortable. "Thank you," I said quietly, putting the bracelet back in the box. "I will cherish it." The lie felt heavy. By 9 o'clock, some guests started to leave. The neighbors left first, thanking me for a lovely evening. Some of my colleagues left next. Soon it was just Jessica, Amanda, and Diane remaining. Marcus was in the living room with Diane still talking, still laughing. Jessica and Amanda were helping me clean up in the kitchen. "This is not okay," Amanda said. "He brought her to your birthday party." "I know," I said. "And that gift," Jessica added. "That was insulting." "I know," I repeated. "I just wanted to get through the night. I just wanted everyone to leave so I could fall apart in private." But then it happened. The moment everything changed. I was carrying a tray of coffee cups from the kitchen to the living room. My hands were shaking partly from exhaustion and partly from the adrenaline of holding myself together all night. As I walked past Diane, I stumbled slightly. Coffee sloshed out of one of the cups and splashed onto Diane's dress. She shrieked, "Oh my God, this is designer. This dress cost $3,000. I am so sorry," I said, immediately setting the tray down and grabbing napkins. "I will pay for the cleaning. I am so sorry." But Diane was furious. "You should be more careful, Sarah. Seriously, some of us take care of our things." The comment stung. It was not just about the dress. It was about everything. She was talking down to me in my own home on my birthday, like I was clumsy and careless and less than her. And Marcus, instead of defending me, rushed to Diane's side. He handed her napkins. He dabbed at the stain on her dress. "I am so sorry, Diane," he said. "Sarah can be so clumsy sometimes." He apologized for me. He took her side. Something inside me snapped. I could feel Jessica and Amanda watching from the kitchen doorway. I could feel humiliation burning through me. I stood up straight and looked at Marcus. "Can we talk?" I said. "In the kitchen. Now." He sighed like I was being dramatic. "Fine." He followed me into the kitchen, and I shut the door behind us. "Why did you bring her here?" I asked, my voice shaking. "She is a colleague, Sarah. What is the big deal?" "The big deal is that this is my birthday, Marcus. My birthday. And you have been ignoring me all night. I have not been ignoring you. You have been standing next to her all night. You have barely looked at me. You brought her to my party without even asking if it was okay." His face hardened. "You are being dramatic. I am not being dramatic. You apologized to her for me. You took her side because you spilled coffee on her." "Yes, I spilled coffee. It was an accident. But instead of supporting me, your wife, you made me feel like the bad guy." Marcus ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "You know what your problem is, Sarah. You are insecure. You have always been insecure. You see threats where there are not any. You make everything about you. Diane is a colleague, that is all. But you cannot handle that because you are jealous." "Jealous," I said, my voice rising. "You have been emotionally distant for months. You criticize everything I do. You ignore me. You bring another woman to my birthday party and spend the entire night with her. And I am the problem." "Maybe you are," he said coldly. "Maybe if you were more confident, more interesting, more like what I demanded. More like Diane." He did not answer, but his silence said everything. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Tears burned in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "You are comparing me to her," I said. "You are actually comparing me to her." "I am just saying," Marcus continued, "that maybe if you took better care of yourself, if you had more going on in your life than just teaching kids and watching TV, maybe things would be different." His words were meant to hurt, and they did. But they also did something else. They cleared away the fog I had been living in for months. Suddenly I saw everything with painful clarity. This man did not love me. Maybe he never had. Or maybe he had once, but he did not anymore. And I had spent so long trying to earn back something that was already gone. "You do not get to talk to me like that," I said quietly. "This is my house, this is my birthday, and you do not get to make me feel small anymore." He laughed, actually laughed. "Oh, here we go, the victim act. You are so predictable, Sarah." And that was when he raised his hand. It happened so fast. 1 second he was standing there glaring at me. The next second his hand was swinging toward my face. The slap echoed through the kitchen like a gunshot. My head snapped to the side. My cheek exploded with pain. For a moment I could not breathe. I could not think. I just stood there stunned. Then I heard footsteps. Jessica and Amanda burst through the kitchen door. "Oh my God," Jessica gasped. "Marcus, did you just—" Amanda stared at him, horrified. I touched my face. My cheek was hot and throbbing. I could feel it swelling. Diane appeared in the doorway behind Jessica and Amanda, her eyes wide. Marcus looked at his own hand like he could not believe what he had just done. His face went pale. "Sarah, I did not mean— I am so sorry. You were yelling and I—" The room was completely silent. Everyone was staring at him, at me, at the red mark blooming across my face. And in that moment something happened that no one expected, least of all me. I started to laugh. It started as a small sound, almost like a hiccup, but then it grew. It bubbled up from somewhere deep inside me, this wild, uncontrollable laughter. I laughed so hard I had to lean against the kitchen counter. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. "Sarah," Jessica said, her voice frightened. "Are you okay?" But I could not stop. I laughed and laughed and laughed. Marcus stared at me like I had lost my mind. "Sarah, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop laughing." But I could not. It was not funny. Nothing about this was funny. But I could not stop laughing. Because suddenly, everything made perfect sense. For months I had been walking on eggshells trying to save a marriage that was already dead. I had been blaming myself, thinking I was not good enough, not pretty enough, not interesting enough. I had been shrinking myself to make room for a man who did not even respect me. And now here he was showing everyone exactly who he really was. He had slapped me. In my own kitchen, on my birthday, in front of witnesses. And all I could think was thank you. Thank you for finally making this easy. Thank you for taking the choice out of my hands. Thank you for being so terrible that I do not have to feel guilty anymore. I wiped my eyes and looked at Marcus. The laughter died on my lips. My voice when I spoke was calm, almost eerily calm. You know what, Marcus? Thank you. He blinked at me confused. What? Thank you, I repeated. Thank you for finally showing everyone who you really are. For 7 years I have made excuses for you. I have blamed myself for your coldness. I have twisted myself into knots trying to be good enough for you. But that slap, that was the best gift you could have given me. Sarah, please. Marcus started reaching for me. I stepped back. Do not touch me. But I am sorry. I lost control. I know I said, and I am glad you did. Because now I do not have to wonder anymore. Now I know exactly what kind of man you are. Now everyone knows. I turned to Diane, who was standing frozen in the doorway. You two have been having an affair, have you not? Diane's face went pale. That is not... Her stammering was all the confirmation I needed. Marcus opened his mouth to protest, but I held up my hand. Do not bother lying. I am not stupid. I have known for months. I just did not want to admit it to myself. I turned back to Marcus. But now I do not have to pretend anymore. Now I do not have to try. Because you have just made the easiest decision of my life. I walked to the counter and pulled off my wedding ring. The ring I had worn every single day for 7 years. The ring that represented promises that turned out to be lies. I set it on the counter between us. You can keep this, and you can have her too. Sarah. No, wait, Marcus said, panic creeping into his voice. Let's just talk about this. We can work through this. There is nothing to work through, I said. You hit me. You brought your mistress to my birthday party. You have been tearing me down for months, making me feel worthless. There is no coming back from that. I looked at Diane. You need to leave. Now. Diane grabbed her purse, not making eye contact with anyone. She practically ran out of the house. Good riddance. Then I turned back to Marcus. You need to leave too. This is my house. My name is on the deed. Mine alone. And I want you out. Marcus's face shifted from panic to anger. You cannot just kick me out. I live here. Not anymore, I said. Pack your things tomorrow when I'm at work. Leave your keys on the counter. If you are not gone by the time I get home, I will call the police and show them this. I pointed to my swollen cheek. Marcus looked at Jessica and Amanda like he was hoping they would intervene. But Amanda stepped forward, her arms crossed. You heard my sister. Get out. Jessica moved to stand beside me, her hand on my shoulder. We are not going anywhere until you leave. Marcus stood there for a long moment, his jaw clenched. Then he grabbed his coat from the chair and headed for the door. This is not over, Sarah. Yes, it is, I said firmly. It is completely over. The door slammed behind him, and the house fell silent. I stood there trembling. The adrenaline was starting to wear off, and reality was setting in. I had just ended my marriage. I had just kicked my husband out of our house. I had just thrown away 7 years of my life. My knees felt weak. Jessica and Amanda were immediately at my side, holding me up. Let's sit down, Jessica said gently. They guided me to the couch. Amanda brought me a glass of water. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold it. Are you okay? Amanda asked. I do not know, I whispered. I do not know. You were so brave, Jessica said. What you just did that took incredible strength. I do not feel strong, I said. I feel like I am falling apart. Then fall apart, Amanda said. We are here. You do not have to hold it together right now. And that was when the tears came. Not the laughing, hysterical tears from before, but deep, wrenching sobs that came from somewhere ancient inside me. I cried for the marriage I thought I had. I cried for the person I used to be before Marcus made me doubt myself. I cried for all the time I wasted trying to fix something that was broken from the start. Jessica and Amanda held me while I cried. They did not tell me to stop. They did not tell me it would be okay. They just let me feel everything I needed to feel. We sat there until after midnight. until the house was dark and quiet, and my tears finally ran dry. The next morning, I woke up on the couch. Jessica had covered me with a blanket before she left. Sunlight was streaming through the windows. For a second, I forgot what had happened. Then I touched my face and felt the tenderness on my cheek, and everything came rushing back. I walked through the house. It was a mess. Dirty dishes everywhere, decorations still hanging, the remains of my birthday party scattered across every surface. I started cleaning mechanically, putting dishes in the dishwasher, throwing away paper plates, taking down streamers. Each action felt surreal, like I was moving through a dream. My phone had 17 missed calls. Most were from Marcus, a few from numbers I did not recognize. There were texts, too. "I am so sorry. Please let me explain. We need to talk. I love you." I deleted them all without reading past the first few words. Then I blocked his number. I found a lawyer online, a woman who specialized in divorce cases. Her reviews said she was tough but fair. I called her office and left a message. "This is Sarah. I need to file for divorce. My husband hit me. I have witnesses. Please call me back." My voice sounded steady, stronger than I felt. Around noon, Jessica texted, "How are you? Can I come over?" I told her yes. She arrived 20 minutes later with coffee and bagels. We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Marcus had slapped me less than 24 hours ago. "Are you sure about this?" Jessica asked gently. "About the divorce, I am sure," I said. "There is no going back from what he did. Even if he had not hit me, even if it had just been the affair, I think I would still be done. I have been unhappy for so long. I just did not want to admit it." We ate in comfortable silence. Then Jessica helped me finish cleaning up. We worked together, restoring order to the chaos. When we took down the last of the birthday decorations, I felt a small sense of relief, like I was cleaning up more than just a party. I was cleaning up the remnants of my old life. That afternoon, I changed the locks. I called a locksmith who came within an hour. He installed new deadbolts on the front and back doors. When he left, I locked the door behind him and felt safer than I had in months. Marcus could not just walk in anymore. This was my space now. Mine alone. Around 5 o'clock, I got a call from the lawyer. We talked for an hour. She asked me questions about my marriage, about the incident, about what I wanted. "I want out," I told her, "as cleanly and quickly as possible. I do not want his money. I just want my house and my freedom." She told me that, given the circumstances, that should not be difficult to arrange. She would file the paperwork on Monday. That night, I took a bath. I filled the tub with hot water and lavender bath salts. I sank into it and let the heat soothe my aching muscles. I thought about everything that had led to this moment, all the small compromises I had made, all the times I had ignored my instincts because I wanted to believe in my marriage, all the ways I had abandoned myself to keep him happy. "Never again," I whispered to the empty bathroom. "I will never make myself small for someone else ever again." The words felt like a vow, a promise to myself. Over the next few weeks, I established a new routine. I went to work every day teaching my third graders, finding comfort in their honest enthusiasm and simple problems. I came home to my quiet house and cooked dinner for one. I started reading again books I had not had time for when I was always trying to accommodate Marcus's schedule. I started painting something I had loved in college but had abandoned. I set up an easel in the spare bedroom and spent evenings creating messy, colorful, abstract pieces that made me happy. Jessica and Amanda checked on me constantly. They took turns coming over for dinner. They invited me to movies and museum trips and girls' nights. They made sure I was not alone too much, not drowning in the silence of my new reality. "I am okay," I kept telling them. And the surprising thing was, I meant it. I was okay. More than okay. I was starting to remember who I was before Marcus. Marcus tried to reach me a few more times. He showed up at the house once, but I did not answer the door. He sent emails that I deleted without reading. He asked mutual friends to talk to me on his behalf. I told everyone the same thing. I do not want contact. The divorce papers have been filed. Anything he needs to say can go through my lawyer. I heard through the grapevine that he and Diane were living together. That had not taken long. Part of me felt vindicated. I had been right. They had been having an affair. But mostly, I just felt relief. He was not my problem anymore. They could be miserable together. The divorce process was surprisingly quick. Since I did not want alimony and we did not have kids, there was not much to fight over. I kept the house. He took his things. We divided our savings 50-50. 3 months after my birthday, I signed the final papers. The lawyer congratulated me. "You are free," she said. And I was. Legally, financially, emotionally free. 6 months after my 32nd birthday, I stood in my garden planting tulip bulbs for spring. It was a cool October afternoon, the kind of day that reminded me of when I first met Marcus all those years ago. But I did not feel sad thinking about it. I felt grateful. Grateful that chapter was over. Grateful I had survived it. Grateful I had found myself again on the other side. My life looked different now. I had joined a book club with some teachers from school. I had started taking a painting class on Wednesday nights. I had gone on a solo trip to Portland, spending a long weekend hiking and eating good food and exploring the city alone. It was the first time I had traveled by myself, and I loved it. The freedom of making every decision based solely on what I wanted to do. I had not dated anyone. I was not ready for that. Maybe I would be someday. Maybe not. Either way, I was okay with it. I was learning how to be happy alone, how to be complete without someone else to validate me. It was harder than I expected, unlearning all those patterns of seeking approval and shrinking myself. But every day got a little easier. Jessica asked me once if I regretted anything. We were sitting on my back deck drinking wine and watching the sunset. "Do you wish you had done anything differently?" she asked. I thought about it for a long time. Part of me wishes I had left sooner, I admitted. But I also think I needed to go through everything I went through to get here. If Marcus had not shown his true colors so dramatically, I might have stayed. I might have kept trying to fix something that was unfixable. So no, I do not really regret it. Even the painful parts brought me here. I heard through friends that Marcus and Diane broke up after 3 months. Apparently she realized he was the same with her as he had been with me. Critical, controlling, always looking for the next best thing. He tried to reach out to me after that, sending a long email about how he had made a mistake, how he wanted me back, how he had been going to therapy and working on himself. I read it once, then deleted it. I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just indifference. He was a stranger to me now. My 33rd birthday was completely different from my 32nd. I kept it small. Just Jessica, Amanda, and a couple of friends from my painting class. We had a barbecue in my backyard. Simple food, good conversation, lots of laughter. When it came time to blow out the candles on the cake Jessica had brought, I did not make a wish. I did not need to wish for anything. I already had everything I needed. I had my home, my health, my friends, my sense of self, my freedom. After everyone left, I sat on my back porch with a cup of tea and looked up at the stars. I thought about the woman I had been a year ago, so desperate to be loved, so willing to accept crumbs of affection from someone who did not value her, so afraid of being alone that she tolerated being treated terribly. I thought about the moment Marcus slapped me, how that single act of violence had shattered the last illusion I had been clinging to, how my laughter had been a release, a breaking free, a refusal to be a victim anymore, how I had reclaimed my power in that kitchen, surrounded by witnesses, and chosen myself for the first time in years. That slap was supposed to break me. That is what abusers want, to break you down until you believe you deserve the way they treat you. But instead, it woke me up. It showed me that I was stronger than I thought, that I could survive the end of my marriage, that I could build a life on my own terms, that I did not need someone else to complete me. I am not the same person I was a year ago. That woman was afraid. She was small. She had forgotten how to take up space in her own life. But this woman, the one sitting here under the stars with a peaceful heart, she is fearless. She knows her worth. She will never let anyone dim her light again. People ask me sometimes if I am angry at Marcus. The honest answer is no. I am not angry. Anger requires caring, and I simply do not care anymore. He is a chapter in my story, but he is not the whole story. He does not get to define me or my future. I define those things now. The best revenge I have learned is not plotting or scheming or trying to hurt the person who hurt you. The best revenge is simply healing, growing, thriving, becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. It is building a life so good that you forget they ever tried to destroy you. It is finding peace where there used to be pain. So what did I learn from all of this? I learned that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best transformations. I learned that you teach people how to treat you, and if you accept less than you deserve, that is exactly what you will get. I learned that being alone is not the same as being lonely. I learned that you can love someone and still need to leave them. I learned that closure is not something someone gives you, it is something you give yourself. I learned that I am enough, just as I am, without changing, without shrinking, without performing. I am enough. And anyone who makes me feel otherwise does not deserve a place in my life. That slap was supposed to be the end of me. Instead, it was the beginning of a life where I come first, where I set the boundaries, where I choose peace over chaos, self-respect over settling, freedom over fear. And you know what? I have never been happier. Not the fake happiness I performed during my marriage, but real, deep, genuine happiness that comes from living authentically, from knowing yourself, from choosing yourself, every single day. So to anyone out there who is in a situation like I was, who is being made to feel small or worthless or crazy, I want you to know something. You deserve better. You deserve respect and kindness and love that builds you up instead of tearing you down. And you are strong enough to leave. I know it does not feel that way. I know it feels impossible, but you are stronger than you think. And on the other side of that fear is a life more beautiful than you can imagine. That slap was supposed to break me. Instead, it set me free. And sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming the person you were always meant to be, without them. Have you ever had a moment that completely changed the direction of your life? Drop a comment below and share your story. I would love to hear from you. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who needs to know they are not alone. Someone who needs permission to choose themselves. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope you know that whatever you are going through, you are not alone. You are stronger than you know, and you deserve a life filled with respect, kindness, and genuine love. Never settle for less. Never make yourself small for someone else. You are enough, just as you are. I wish you peace, courage, and the strength to always choose yourself. Take care.